Dark side is the way to go.
Ayo,
Hello,
we in here. And who we here with?
my name's Gayle Walkoff.
Cool. So just to start everything off, what do you do?
What do I do? I am the founder and the executive director for Educate Youth, which is sort of the business that I have, but what I do is education. I firmly believe that education should be, everybody should have access to it, but everybody doesn't have access to it. So what I do is I educate and I help students learn and I help students gain the confidence and I help students be in a safer place so they can learn.
Cool.
Very long answer.
No, it's good. We're here for the long
And
answers.
then I enjoy life and I work on creating a better place for everybody in the community.
Cool. What made you want to start doing that? Educate the youth. What made you want to do that? I think that's the literal name of your thing. Educate youth.
Educate youth.
Yep.
Wow. Um, I wanted to be educated when I was growing up. Education, learning did not come easy to me, but I was surrounded by people that did believe in education, and education did come easy to them. So I went through a series of not doing well in school, and then all of high school, I just didn't go to high school, didn't show up, didn't go. Went down to the university and sat in classes because at that time you could just wander in classes and sit in classes to learn something. And then when I went to college,
You just that goodwill hunting.
yeah, when I went to college, I wanted to be an educator. I decided that that's what I wanted to do. And along the way, I did the journey that I thought I needed to have. So I worked in a variety of areas. Backtracking for just a moment, I grew up in a household where my family believed that education was the most important thing in one's lives. And I did not have a choice on whether I was going to go to college. It was where I was going to go to college. So I found a college that I could be accepted at where I got accepted. And then the rest was just perseverance and deciding that this is what I was going to do. Yeah.
Just to be clear, you said you stopped going to high school?
I did. Yeah, I didn't show up much. I didn't pretty much. I graduated essentially functionally illiterate, so I could just fake it. But everything I've learned on my own because my learning styles, I have a lot of learning differences. So learning is not something comes really easy to me and some things don't come easy to me. And so I know firsthand that anything's possible. It's just finding the way to help somebody get there and having patience and having somebody on the other side that's going to be there and ask you the questions and be encouraging and be that smile and, but yet set that boundary of if this is what you want to do, then this is what you have to do. And it might not be easy, but it's totally doable.
So, what was that awakening like from high school? Did you go to college?
I did go to college.
So, what was that awakening? Like, how'd you even do that transition if you were barely there in high school?
I went to a high school. Well, I went to high school, and then I went to a college that was alternative, where there's two different definitions of alternative education. One is where you send students who, quote unquote, get in trouble because nobody's willing to reach out to them and give them the time that they need to learn. And another form of alternative education is very much of working with letting students design what they want to learn when they want to learn it. So as soon as I was in a college and in an environment where it's like sign up for classes, take what you want to take, First time I had a professor, I signed up for a class and he's like, well, what do y'all want to learn? And we're like, what do you mean, what do we want to learn? And he's like, well, I'll be in my office when you guys decide what you want to learn because you all signed up for this class. So you obviously wanted to be here. What do you want? So it empowers the learner to think about what they want to learn and then how to get there. So it's just true education in that fashion, and using people as mentors to get to where they want to go.
Well, for sure. Let me ask you this: if you could make one law, what would that law be? Everybody, they gotta get up in the morning and brush your teeth. You must brush your teeth, and everybody gotta brush their teeth, or something. Like, what would be the one law you'll make?
Treat people with kindness. And I would define, and I would go farther, and I would define kindness as treat people with compassion and being able to listen to somebody and to appreciate who they are, and to as much as possible put yourself in someone else's situation. Like if you come up to a situation where you don't know what's going on, think about, I wonder what's happening. I wonder what happened 2 minutes before they walked through that door. Or what's going to happen 2 minutes after they walk through that door. Because I'm just seeing them for this much. So treating people with kindness.
That brings me to the Meek Mill situation. You know that? You know anything about that?
Try that one more time.
That brings me up to the Meek Mill situation. You know anything about that?
No.
So basically, there was a dude, he a rapper, famous rapper. He got beat in his face, like, all by the cops. I think, might have been all by the cops, but I think it was by the cops. But beat in his face, his mugshot picture is like bloody-eyed and everything like that. And then boom, he got to the judge. I think it was the same day or next day or something like that. And she didn't ask nothing about that. She didn't care nothing about that, and then gave him like no, it was like really harsh on him. Mm-hmm. So that just made me think about that. She didn't think about none of that.
Right. Well, this is one of the first things that I learned when I opened up. We were dedicated to make a change, and then we were educate youth. But when I first opened up 12 years ago on South Huron, one of the most important lessons, I've learned a lot of important lessons, but this was the one that really set us on the trajectory. So as I get people that either want to do a volunteer placement or through college or anything, is I had a student say to me, it's like, we don't know what this person has experienced before they walk through the door. And I just think about so many times in my life when I've gone through some really intense moments, and then I've shown up in another place, and you just sort of wait for somebody to say, go ahead and ask me what I was doing 10 minutes ago or what I've just experienced, like to get a perspective. So that's very much the same thing. It's like we don't know, and if we don't, and having that sense of curiosity and acceptance. It's like students come through our doors and we have 9 different schools, and we have no idea how these students have been treated before they got there. And if there's been fights and severe fights in school, then they're going to have to process that. So.
Understood. Let me ask you about this, the gun violence. What's your opinion on the gun violence and stuff like that?
Well, I think it's wrong.
Oh, educate youth. You hear about the YNs?
The what?
You know what a YN is?
No.
Be blunt with you. Young nigga. So then the young guys, like young dudes, that's what they call them. And then like they're like ski masked up. Like,
oh yeah, I see them all. We have those students at the clubhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I know that.
I don't know the name of them. I mean,
this is what I love. There's like two cultures like meeting right now. I love it.
Exactly, and that's exactly what the two cultures in. It's like, see, Let's see. What do I know about gun violence?
Yeah, so the gun violence, and they saying that these young guys are the ones doing it, and they call them the YNs. So like the YNs, what do you think about the young YNs? Why do you think this gun violence is here? Like stuff
Oh,
like that.
wow. I can't at this point in time touch why it's here. I do believe that it's here. Educate Youth has does a lot with gun violence. Um, we recognize back when we started, we had students that were in different gangs at this point in time, 12 years ago. If you think back of what was happening 12 years ago on the streets, we had students representing different gangs. And so we've written much of our expectations to make sure that everybody stays safe. Like can't wear a backpack within the clubhouse. You need to take your backpack off when you come inside of the clubhouse. And the clubhouse is the building. We acknowledge we worked with Derek Jackson. We've worked with Alicia. We've worked with a number of people on, you know, guns, gun violence, how to keep students safe. Students after killings of friends would often end up at the clubhouse just to process because they just needed some place to be. Instead of on the streets wandering, they would show up there. We've
Time
had
out.
students on the other end of the gun.
Time out. It was a. This is me from my perspective. I record a lot of rappers, music videos, and stuff like that. Even I think last night or the night before last night, it was this one rapper I interviewed. He said is that a lot of people they talk about it. He said he really can't say anything on it because they talk about it, but they don't understand what it's like to lose a brother. Mm-hmm. And then that's the main component. Like I realized of like this whole thing, it's like you kill my brother, I'm gonna kill your brother. You gonna kill my brother, and then I'm gonna kill your brother. Then you gonna kill my brother, and then I'm gonna kill your brother. And I'm gonna kill your
Retaliation.
brother. So how can somebody end that? If somebody watching this right now and their brother just got killed, what would you tell them to not go over there and slide or not go over there and?
That's a good question because that's one of the things when we had students who had lost people. We had real conversations. It's like you have a choice of retaliation or reconciliation. And students quickly believe that retaliation is going to create more caskets. Retaliation is going to create more deaths. So where I am, I can connect people because there are programs in the city of Ypsilanti that can work directly with the students and people so the retaliation and the beefing can come quieter. I believe what we do at the clubhouse is when we hear about deaths or any shootings or anything, we have a whole ritual where we have a specific candle. We have a peace prayer stone where when something's happening, all of the students, we stand up, we talk, we recognize them. If students who know these people want to share who these people were, then they can do that. We have a candle. What we do talk about a lot about is the difference between facts, like the real facts, and what we've heard on social media. And the dangers of if one works on what you've heard on social media, what happens is you have a whole bunch of dots. You start connecting them, and quite often those dots aren't based in reality. They're based in hurt, they're based in pain, they're based in just processing the loss of somebody. Whereas if we have the facts and I can get the facts, I'm on part of the Community Violence Intervention Team, CVIT, so I work with people, I get information, I try to get information. So Benita as the youth advocate, I as, the position that I have, the staff, we actually have facts. So if students talk about it, we can talk about it, we can help them process it. Because it's not an easy thing to process. I have no idea what it's like to process. I've had many students who have lost brothers.
You never lost a family member? You never lost a brother?
I've lost a
to
family member,
to
but
murder?
no.
All right, there you go.
That's murder has not touched my life, like directly. It's touched my life through the youth that I've worked with. We have one of the youth who was in the program who created the Black Rose that's on the corner of the Corner Health Building, the memorial for gun violence. Deshaun Chambers created that rose as a place where families can go to sort of like the old, not the old, but what Switzerland was during the wars, is that neutral ground where people can go and just feel and be and can process.
I understand. Let me ask you this: what do you think is the best decade, like culture-wise, everything-wise? Like, how old are you again?
I'm 64.
Dang, I always said that's about my grandma age. So it's like, yeah. What decade do you think is like the best decade you'll say?
I think every decade that you're in. I mean,
So you say the 2020s?
2020s. I mean, everything's learning. Everything's learning. Being open to, I think, over the decades, people have like changed just because of, what the computer's done, what social media's done, what we don't know what the pandemic COVID lockdown is going to do. I mean, you all are going to know the results of that. We've had 9/11. We've had.
Dang, what's the results you think that come from that?
I don't know. I have no idea. I as an educator can tell you what I see.
You can't speculate with me. Put your tinfoil hat on with me.
What do we see? We see. So the students that we work with for a good 3 years, I definitely, learners have had their education affected in some way, shape, or form for 3 years, developmentally, academically, socially, emotionally. So we get a lot of students, they're not behind. I'm very strong to say that they're not behind because they are where they are. But they need to learn things so if you're in 8th grade, if you're 3 years behind, then you're in 5th grade. So you're processing things as you might have developmentally, socially as a 5th grader. And if you weren't in school, so you don't have the academic resources that you had. If you were somebody who was in a household that had a space for you to do schoolwork, personally for you to do schoolwork, and you had electricity with a Chromebook or a computer or heat, then you had one trajectory. If you had students who couldn't do schoolwork because they didn't have any of these things, you have another trajectory. Then you have students who were told for 3 years that they're supposed to use computers and use computers for everything. They get back to school and then they're told, don't use these. So there's this.
Dang, you would be messed up if you was in high school as a freshman in 3 years, and then your senior year you got to get on a goddamn. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, I mean, but so all of a sudden so let's look at that. As a 9th grader, what do you learn as a 9th grade student? You learn how to be in a high school, you learn how to socialize, you learn how to go to classes. I mean, these are just things you learn not academically. So if you're not in school your 9th grade year or your 10th grade year, and you jump in your 11th grade year, guess what you're going to be learning? How to go to class, how to socialize, how to interact with teachers, how to do all of the things, the social emotional skills that one learned in 9th grade. Not to mention, you have these crazy things called hormones that are now really kicking by the time that you're in 11th or 12th grade. So, and if you've been locked in your house and you haven't been socializing and everything has been done online.
You believe in that hormones thing?
Do I believe in that hormone thing? Oh, absolutely.
I ain't gonna lie. I feel like, to me, I don't know, I was speaking about this earlier, I feel like hormones is like a thing women tell you, like, just to do whatever they want to do. Like, it's kind of like a what do they say, a woman's intuition? I believe it's something like that. Like, they say that, like, whenever I gotta get something by you, I just say, oh, it was my woman's intuition. Like, they can't make something up. Like, that's like
no. To women's intuition or men's intuition or insightfulness is totally different from hormones. Hormones are the things that create your libido, create your sex drive, create your desire to want to be with somebody, whatever that would be.
You never had anybody say hormones or something like that was totally crazy? It was like, oh yeah, that was not hormones, that was you. Like,
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that because hormones treat people in different ways. People, at times people respond differently in different ways to different hormones. Hormones are essential for brain development. That it helps us in learning. It helps, and that's one of the things that people learn as they're in middle school and high school is how to work with and accept and what is acceptable. Like those things that, people tell you, what's right or what's wrong, your ethics or your, where you're going to go, your work drive.
Okay, let me ask you this. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a black, so I gotta ask you this. How can we hold our politicians accountable for their actions? Like, I feel like a lot of black people, we praise around like that 4-year period presidential thing, and then we just like forget about it after like 2 years or a year, a couple months, really, to be real with you. So then we just keep living our lives like the same repetitive cycle. I feel like we don't hold those people accountable to those things they said. So how can we as a people hold them accountable? Even on a local point.
Represent. So for you as a young black man I'm interested in this. I know the new sheriff in town. I'm interviewing people. How can you personally find ways to insert yourself in the whole political space so you can have a politician, like you were just talking with the sheriff. You can have the sheriff come in. It's like, okay, it's been 100 days. Tell me what you've done.
But what are the steps to getting that person out? Do you know the steps?
To getting somebody out? That's just voting them out.
We just got to come up with a petition and just start voting them out?
Nope, you can't vote people. I mean, you can't move people out of office. It's just when re-election comes up. I mean, we just had a president who was inaugurated yesterday. And I'm not even going to try to tell you how many people believed in him and how many people didn't believe in him. But it was, we can do nothing with that president for another 4 years. And so we have that president for 4 more years. Now, if one...
We can't vote him out like any type of way? Like we made a petition, anything? So I'm talking about not even skip, because I'm the type of person, I don't care too much about the president's.
Well, no, I know. But once somebody is in office, unless they do something
like if Eli
huge,
just kept locking up black people, kept giving black people life, we couldn't do anything about it.
Unless something is huge, voting them out of office, no.
What's something huge that we can do?
I mean, but that's a good question. Look at history. We have, we have a whole. Yesterday we celebrated Martin Luther King's, birthday. We have, people who have worked for centuries to create something, but yet it doesn't move forward. It doesn't, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not going to move forward until people, this is where it all goes back to education. Until people learn true history of African Americans and slaves or black people or Negroes, whatever you want to call them in time-wise, or of Asians or Chinese or of the Native Americans.
We don't do that, Negro. That one was so bad, I gotta bleep it. I ain't gonna lie, I can't even let you go out like that. I ain't gonna lie, don't say that.
I didn't say that, but if you look at it, if you went to any of the Martin Luther King, if you went to the Martin Luther King
let me cut that one just to make
celebrations,
sure. I gotta make sure I'm gonna cut it. Wait.
No, in 65, that's how these people were referred to.
I got you.
I mean, I don't call them that. I call people, I ask you, I say, do you want me to refer to you as African American or black?
Let me ask you this though.
Because those are two different, I've been told, I'm not, but I've been told that those are two different identities.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be real with you.
Please be real.
Like this is like a raw moment for me. I gotta be raw with you.
Go for it. I love it.
So basically, a lot of black people don't know what they talking about. Like a lot of black people, they just like, I feel like it's really lost. You got some black people that say black, some people that say African American, some people that say nigga, some people that say Negro, like it's all types of things. But really, I want to ask you, as a white person on the outside looking in, what do you think? Because I know you listen to the music, right? What type of music do you listen to? I
listen to all kinds of music. I probably listen to a lot of rap because of the students.
All right, so the N-word. So then, what is your view on the N-word from person on the outside looking in? What do you think we should do with it? We got some people that say, leave it in the past, like black people. We got black people that say, leave it, don't call me that. Like, I had a black person. I was like, what am I? And he's like, what? And he's like, don't call me that word. I was like, what? And then you got some people that's just what it is.
I don't believe that I can answer that question. And here's why. Mm-hmm. When the students use it, I come from a generation, as I told you, I'm older, that it was used in a very negative way. It was used to put people down. It was used to treat people as subhuman. And the reason they were treated subhuman is so if I'm not treating you as a human, then I can do whatever I want to you. I can do all of the cruelty that history has shown us. And so students within Educate Youth are not strongly encouraged, and I will call them on it, as Benita does and as other people do, is if they use the N-word. And my response is, when somebody uses the N-word, it's very much of what I say, but I cut it down to is, you're worth so much more than that. I don't want you to put yourself down. Now, nowadays, I realize that people have empowered words. It's the same thing within the gay community. People have empowered the word of gay, but there's still a certain group of people that look at it as a negative connotation.
Hell yeah. Black people. Like, you call somebody, like, I ain't gonna lie, this is like slang. Like, this is slang. I didn't understand it at first until he told me that. He's like, man, that's gay. And I was like, what? And he's like, no, that's lame. Like, they usually use gay as lame. Man, that's gay as hell. It's like lame. They literally use that as lame.
But people who have been targeted, beaten up, lost their lives because of who they loved, they're not going to let go of that. You know, I have had people that have been beaten up and lost their lives because of who they loved. And so it's just like it's putting somebody down for something that they can't control. People can't control their skin color. You can't control who you love. You can't control like what family you're born into. It's like it's not like I went along and I, picked my parents. I couldn't control like the learning differences that I had.
I ain't gonna lie. I see a lot of crazy stuff in the news right now. I ain't gonna lie. I think like a lot of crazy stuff I see in the news right now is really like BS. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I see like when I say this, I mean like TikTok. Like I mean like this is like we got the president of the United States sitting here and they're talking about TikTok. Like, and we got the president of the United States here and he, like I feel like this is like a big thing right now. The transgender people. Like to me in my mind, I don't see it or think of it as that big of a fucking deal. So now I'm wondering, like, because I think he said that, like, in his second day or something like that, the president said that. He's like, oh, there are only two genders. And I was like, why are you talking about this? Me, personally, I'm on some, like, I'm LGBT friendly. I don't give, like, I can give two shit about it, really, to be real with you. So then I was wondering, like, why is that such a big deal?
Because TikTok, and they've proven that they have a lot of bots, so they give a lot of misinformation. And so people get, as you've said earlier, referring back to, people get a lot of misinformation about health, about wellness, about mental health, about everything, just misinformation, total misinformation. Mm-hmm. Now the whole thing with the people in identity is, if you're saying there's only two genders, then anybody that doesn't fit into these two genders are basically saying that they don't exist. And they can't exist as their real selves, as their authentic selves. And so, it makes everything harder and more complicated, instead of just saying or looking at it as, this is who people are. we need to accept people as who they are. They might be different than me, you know, they might be, you know, believe in a different God or believe, you know, or have different abilities.
I think it just makes the system way harder. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think as I'm thinking about it more, I think it just makes the system harder. And I feel like some people just don't want to accommodate to it like that. Like I ain't gonna lie, the first time hearing like a them, like somebody said them, they, I was like, what are you talking about? That is so complicated. Why are you doing this to me? That was literally what I thought. I was like, why are you doing this to me?
But that's the thing about it. It's not about you.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about you. It's about somebody else. And if people can move away from the I, like I am, and looking at it as we, then I believe that that's going to get rid of gun violence. That's going to get rid of you know, hatred, because all of a sudden it's not, what are you doing to me? It's, what am I curious about? What is this all about?
And I ain't gonna lie. Me personally, I feel like people got so much they got going on in their own lives. I think it is a selfish aspect of it. It's like boy, I do not care. Like I feel like that's what it comes off. So I feel like that's what it is.
But you can not care. You can say I don't care, but you don't need to be filled with hate.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
you know?
Yeah, that hatred. I ain't gonna lie. I think. Do you believe this? I think the hatred is like really like people that's on the down low. They gay. That's what I really think on the low end. Do you believe in that? Like, cause they said something. It's so my friend, he wanted to wear a crop top, and I was like, do you? It's your word. It was like, do you think I should do it? And then he was like, go, like, it's a place in Detroit called The Hole. And he's gonna go to The Hole in Detroit. It's like, I heard it's like a ghetto hood or something like that. So then he's like, just watch out, they be gay bashing over there. And then when she said that, I was like, I never heard that term. It's like, you beat up gay people? I was like, that's the gayest thing I've ever heard in my life. You got something going on up there. Like, that's what I think about it when I say about it. So I was like, that was just something super funny to me. Do you think the same thing? Or like, what do you think about it?
Well, gay bashing is real.
The hatred that comes from other gay people, I think is inner gay.
Between gay people?
No,
straight people to gay people.
I think the straight people, the quote unquote straight people that got a problem with gay people, I think it's low key on some gay shit.
Right. It's you know, who's gonna know? I mean, is it because they're different? Is it because they're suppressing? But gay bashing is a reality, and that's what I was talking about earlier. It's like, you know, yeah, I've seen friends that the result of gay bashing. You know.
Do you ever look at the other person like, did that other person ever come out as like homosexual or something like that these days?
Do people come out as homosexual? Sure.
Did the person that was gay bashing? Because I don't know, like.
Oh, did they come out? I don't know. I didn't see that. I was just on the other side. So, you know, that's an excellent question. So where would I be if somebody walked in that came in and said that on a Friday night they came in and said, or on a Monday morning, and we have start out educate youth with the circle, and just doing check-in, and somebody said, well, I beat up a gay person. What would my reaction be? I mean, we've had students say, well, over the weekend we had Nerf guns and we were shooting them at disabled and homeless people. And we addressed that. It was like, tell us more. What are your thoughts? What, you know, basically getting the idea that their power, I mean, that's not something that they have to do. This isn't fun.
Let me ask you about this. Black History Month coming up. What's the Black History fact that astonished you the most? And that was the most interesting Black History fact you got for the kids, for people, really.
There's so many of them.
Spit them out. We got time.
I would say the most interesting Black History Month, it would be things that I learned is people are people. Just because somebody has different color skin than you do that doesn't mean that they're any different than you are. Another thing that I would say is interesting is the depth and breadth of history that is not told. And then on the flip side of that would be the amazing people that have worked for equality. And
But like specifically which person, like, or which, like, that was like, oh, this person. Like, my best person was like, what was that one dude? Because I feel like a lot of people think it wasn't like rebellious and fight backs. It was, what was that one dude? He ran around just killing white people. I forgot his name. You know his name? Dang, it was not Emmett Till. It was well, basically that's what he did. I forgot what his name was, but yeah, he was like on a rebellion type tip, and he just ran away like to all of them, and then just started taking people and then made a rebellion.
I'd say it would be the everyday person. Like the everyday person who steps up and goes against what society has put them in. Like many of the youth that go to educate youth I admire them, because if you go to look at many of the Ypsilanti schools, graduation rate is anywhere from 55 to 75%, depending on the amount of melanin you have in your skin, depending on, whether you're male or female. We're not even going to get into different identities. And in order to graduate, you are going against what the society of the school has set up for you.
Let me ask you this question real quick. I just problem real quick. It's ADHD, black boys. Do you know what's going on?
Oh, ADHD is a real thing in every culture. Every human it does. ADHD does not see skin color.
You really think that?
I absolutely believe this. Now, what people like to do
it's like facts, statistics, and everything. They go like, but black boys is like.
Well, so as an educator, I look at it as, so if you have a little girl, people treat their little girl with dolls, they treat them how to play, you play quietly, you color, teach them how to be more quiet. Little boys are taught to run around and to play football and to play tag and to climb trees and to ride bicycles.
You're talking about black boys and black boys?
I'm talking about just girls and boys in general.
I'm talking about the
No, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Got you. I'm waiting.
I'm getting there.
I got you.
So girls and boys are raised very differently.
Mm-hmm.
So people, that whole nurture versus nature idea. So we nurture our young children very differently. Mm-hmm. And so then if you put socioeconomics on top of this, and so if you have somebody, black or white, a little girl and a little boy that are raised in a family that is affluent, and they have somebody at home, or they have somebody places where they can go after school, then they are learning how to contain and how to socialize themselves. If you have students who are not affluent and where you have people who have to work all the time, then these students aren't having somebody there, or there's no place for these students to go after school, or nobody's checking into them to see if they're going to school. So many of those social skills, which I was talking earlier, social emotional skills, aren't being learned. And people can see the difference, and so they become frustrated.
So you believe like the black boys really do got this ADHD thing? It's not a
I
cultural...
don't believe that. I don't believe that black boys have more or less. Are they diagnosed
Way
more or less? Yes.
Yeah, crazy.
but that doesn't mean that they do or they don't. But so to me, it's more of a
Do you believe it's right though?
do I believe? Absolutely not.
What do you think we can do to stop that?
What do I think we can do to stop that? Educate children.
Educate the children more?
Yeah, educate children in schools. Realize
Time out real quick.
that each student is an individual learner, and you teach the student, not the curriculum.
This is
You
the one
te-
thing I think, like, even me on a personal note, I had a personal story. My grandma, like, we come from the South, so then all my people, they talk faster, go get that bar, hey, go get that bar, hey, they talk very, very fast. Like, I'm like from Southern fast talking people.
Right, right.
And we don't finish the end of our words. It's something I'm realizing as I grow up. Like, the ending of the words, we don't, like, there. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Not there. So then that's, like, the main, like, component. So then in there, it's like, he talks so fast. And my grandma was like, tell me you got ADHD. Everybody talk fast around here. So then that was, like, a funny thing. So then when we got home, I remember that she said, Mario, just talk slower. They not like us. And that's what I really think. Me personally, I think it's a cultural difference. And I think black kids, we just getting fucked. Like, because nobody's looking at the cultural difference. I feel like the educators. I think whoever's doing it, psychologist or something like that.
I think that you have cultural differences, you have education differences, you have socioeconomic. I mean, that's a biggie, a socioeconomic. The difference between if somebody is going to school in Ypsilanti and somebody's going to school in Saline, or somebody's going to school in Ypsilanti, or somebody's going to school in Ann Arbor, or Saline versus like Howell. I mean, so you have a whole socioeconomic part that does it. Representation. I mean, how many black men did you have as a role model when you were in school?
You asking me right now?
Yeah. How many black men did you have? Not principals, not people that walked in halls, but that were supposed to discipline you.
You talking about my whole like school career?
Your whole school career. How many black men have you had as educators?
Probably like I don't know about like probably like six, five for sure. That's just me. I feel like, but it's very. I feel like it's mainly like white women.
That number is very high. That number, in all honesty, surprises me.
Wait, the number right now I just gave you the 6?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dang, how much do they usually get?
1 or 2.
Wait, I see like even in like Pioneer High School, like it was funny, Mr. Dance. I'm shutting you up. But basically, it was.
So you went to school in Ann Arbor?
I went to high school. So my dad is from Ypsi, and I never seen my dad. So then really, I always wanted to go stay with him for a minute. He's like, oh, so high school. I came out to Pioneer High School, and then boom. So those 4 years, went to Pioneer High School. Everything else was in Detroit.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, in Detroit, it was like all white teachers still. So that was like the funniest thing ever in the blackest city in America. That was funny.
Yep.
So.
And it's looking at, and you know, you're right. It's cultural.
My bad. Let me get off the black stuff. The last black question. The black people in jails and prisons and stuff like that, I feel like is like higher.
It's not. You don't feel like it's higher. It is higher.
So in there, what do you think we can do to fix that, combat that? Because I talked to Eli. This is the crazy thing. This is why I feel like I'm getting took for a spin on these questions. So look, I talked to Eli about it.
You mean Ellie Savage?
Yeah. Okay. Ellie? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Ellie? I've been fucking his name up.
That's okay. No, that's okay. The prosecutor.
Yeah, the prosecutor.
Oh, you're going to put me up against Ellie Savage? Thanks. Okay, go for it.
All right, but Ellie, I talked to Ellie about it. Boom. Ellie said, oh, yeah, there's nothing we can do about it because it's really who brings us these people. It's really the sheriff. And then, boom, guess who I talked to? Talked to the sheriff. Boom. I talked to the sheriff. Guess who she says it is? It's Ellie. I'm like, it's the prosecutors because they're the one prosecuting it. And then I'm like, hold up. Y'all both taking me for a spin now. So then,
everybody's
who do you
pointing
think?
Fingers.
Who do you think is really like, or what do you think we can do to combat this? Because I think this is very unfair. Like me and you, same crime or something like that, or like me and the white dude, same crime, or Arabic dude, same crime. 50 years for me, probation for him.
First of all, that's socioeconomics. So we're talking to prosecutors. So if you have a lawyer that you can afford, then that lawyer is going to get you off. The more you can pay for a lawyer, the more they're going to get you off. So if you don't have the money and you have a public defendant, then that public defender, not defendant, but that public defender might have you and 20 other cases in one day where they are reading your case moments before they're going in front of the judge. So that's one thing, the socioeconomic things. The judges, having the judges looking at that very fact. To release people that are already on the inside. Because, I mean, if I look at it, it's like, okay, so in my lifetime, the drug situations. Drugs were put on the streets in certain communities to increase the number of people that are going to prisons. And they called that drug crack. And they put it on the streets so they could arrest people and put them in prisons. So prisons are now privatized. So if you have anything private, then the more people you put in, the more it's now a business. So if I can arrest people and put them in prison, I'm going to make more money if I build these prisons. Okay, so that's something else. These people with that, cannabis is legal around here. So all these people that were arrested and are doing time for cannabis, they should be left out. And people are being, and Ellie Savage and a number of people in this area and prosecutors and lawyers are working a lot to expunge people, to get them so they don't have it. So when people get out, it's how do we treat them? So it's not this recidivism. So people don't end up back in jail. Well, we have some programs to help people, but if you're in jail for 5 years, you've been on the inside for 5 years and life has been happening for 5 years. So you're essentially walking into this place that isn't even your world anymore. So now take this to 10, 20 years. Some of these people have been in so long that they've never seen and or experienced a computer or an iPhone or any kind of cellular device. And they're walking back into society without any transitions or without any money. So it's like, if we're going to have the prison system that we have, which needs to be changed, but we'll keep that for another moment, then if people do time, or when people do time, they need to be treated as human beings again.
I ain't gonna lie.
So they can get an apartment.
I love the way that you think.
They can get a job.
I'm so selfish.
They can.
I'm thinking about my niggas.
But I mean, I have friends that are out and they can't get jobs. Mm-hmm. They can't find some place to live. They can't go and visit.
The thing is, black folks, we still in there. Like, I know some people it was a dude sat literally in that same chair 2 nights ago. He was in at 18 and he's like a 50-year-old man right now. Literally that same chair. Like, I'm gonna clip it up. That same chair, 18. He did something dumb when he was 18, now 50. Well, I'm guaranteed if he was white,
we don't know about that, but I will say that at 18, and this is where I step in as an educator, it's like at 18, you don't have your full brain. You don't have executive functioning skills. Mm-hmm. You don't have full executive functioning skills until you're 25 to 28.
When do you think, because I feel like I was in high school when this happened too. It was they changed the laws so you can get prosecuted as an adult at 17. When do you think you should be able to get prosecuted as an adult?
28.
Why?
Because that's what if you're going to look at it, prosecuting as an adult, that's what all the studies show, that the brain is not fully developed until it changes person to person, but the brain is not fully developed until your late 20s. So up until that time, emotions and are ruling, passions are ruling until one learns how to process and learn. That's what we have. And so now if I go back to the students that I've worked with, or any of the students that, as I said at the very beginning, Educate Youth has had students where they've been on both sides of the gun. It's like they're victims. First, it's like, somebody who pulls the trigger at 16, 17, 15, 18, to me, it's just as heart-wrenching as somebody who receives the bullet. Very different trauma, but family members lose somebody if you're pulling the trigger, and family members lose somebody if they receive the bullet.
Personal question.
Perfect.
How do you know somebody's wasting time? I feel like you may educate youth, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like as an entrepreneur, I feel like you got a lot of people time wasters and a lot of people that like time wasters. That's what I call them. So then, how do you know if somebody's wasting time or not?
I can't identify that.
Or like somebody.
Again, I'm looking in on someone else's life, so I might have a student
somebody that's not even trying. Like, people get out of prison, you think, oh, they're trying, and like they're not even trying. Like,
but if we're going to do prisons, if we're going to do schools, if we're going to do anything, I'm looking on your life, and I am making a value judgment. I have students who might look like they're not doing any schoolwork, but I don't know what they experienced during the day. I don't know what's going on at their house. I don't know. They might have a headache. They might have any number of things. So for me to look at you and say, you're wasting time.
Do you think is that a character flaw, or you just see like that's how everybody should think you think? Or that's just how you think?
Oh, I think that if we all looked at people from trying to put judgments and value judgments on other people, then we all might be a little bit happier. Because there's plenty of times that, if we're going to talk about educate youth, students during homework time, I might walk back and they're not doing anything, and then Benita comes past them and we have a conversation and we discover, and she doesn't see anything, and then right before they leave, they're like, I have a really bad headache. And it's like, who can do work with a really bad headache? Or who could do work if you're running the risk of being evicted, or you're running the risk of, somebody's at home, or you're excited about something. Let's not even take it to the negative. I mean, something wonderful happened to you and you're like seriously in like, and the person you're in like with said hello to you at the end of the day or goodbye. It's like, you're just like, ah! So there's no way I can say, now, I do say, now do your math. But it's understandable that it's really hard to be focused if there's other things going on. So, giving food, giving water, giving support, asking people the questions. So, for example, if someone doesn't look like they're focusing, it's like, hey, you don't look like you're focused today. You look like you're having a hard time. What's going on?
Gotcha.
And
let me ask you this. You married, right?
Pardon me?
You married, right?
I am.
All right, cool. Do you believe in the zodiac sign stuff?
Somewhat, yeah.
All right, for sure. So, what's you and your husband?
I know what I am. I'm a Libra, and I think he's.
You don't even know what he is, so yeah, you don't believe in that. You got some women out here, they not even dating people if they not a certain zodiac.
May 20. What's May? The end of May? Do you know? Okay, so no. Yeah, no.
So yeah, you don't even believe in that stuff. How long you been married?
How long have I been married? We just did 30 years.
So what's something that you can tell anybody to keep a long marriage like that?
It's the best and the hardest thing you're ever going to do. It's like raising children. To be curious. To realize that when I'm frustrated, if I realize that this is my movie and I have no idea what is experiencing or what happened to them at work today, or what happened. It's very much of what I was saying with students. It just being aware that I don't know. When you're not with me, I don't know what's going on. Not to mention the fact of what you grew up with. So I have all of the things that I grew up with from the traumas that I grew up in my life. And
so you just, I call what you say, like, give people the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly, that's exactly it.
Me, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes, like, I give people the benefit of the doubt, but then it's a certain point, I'll be like, nah, 'cause me, I ain't gonna lie, I'm the type of person I ask, but then after I get at, like, a look, a give, and I give it some time, like me, I give things, like, at least too much, because I feel like I'm a young person, we got the internet and everything, you can get mad at something real quick. I give it 2 weeks to a month, and then I see if I should like really react on it or should I? Because a lot of things you can just, and then it'll work itself out.
So is this face to face or is this on internet?
What do you mean?
So you're saying you're giving somebody 2 weeks to work it out. Are you talking to this person
That's
face to
anything.
face?
Like I ain't gonna lie, my grandma.
Or you're talking to people on the internet and you're texting each other?
I have a bad habit. It's kind of both. Like my grandma said, I got a bad thing. I pop up at people's houses. Like I just pop up at people because I feel like I don't know. I feel like that running away thing is like so not like anything. So I feel like if I got a problem with something like that, I really like just make it known. And then I just I'm the type of person I let my feelings known.
Right, but are you letting me know that your feelings, and I'm looking at your face, or are you letting me know your feelings and I'm reading a text?
Oh yeah, no, I don't do that. No, not at all. Like no.
Because it's like if you're letting me know your feelings, I can see your face, I can see your eyes, I can see your body language. I can see, what you're doing with your candy. I can see all these things. Versus you're texting me and I'm like, I don't know what this means.
Yeah, I do all that. Like even on business cards, like we get price ranges and everything. Or like, are you gonna come? If you didn't notice, like I like phone calls because you can tell somebody's voice. Yeah, I'll be there by 1. She not showing. I'll be like that.
Right.
So I like even that FaceTime voice calls and stuff like that. That's just me. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but but I have age on my side. Mm-hmm. I've learned throughout the years, that being able to take a breath. So I've learned over time.
Let me ask you this.
I've had the wisdom of time, the wisdom of experience.
Do you believe in the this is gonna be fun to ask you this shit. And it's like these are young woman questions. So it's just funny asking like you've been in the game, you've been out the game, but in marriage like for a long time. So it's just funny. I want to ask your opinion on these things. Like these are what the girls are talking about these days. Would you not date a guy if he took you to certain places for like first date? Does that matter to you? What are places that like if he took you on a first date, you would just nah?
I don't even know how to answer that question.
So you just cool with anywhere if he takes somewhere sincereful on a first date?
As long as I'm being treated with respect, dignity, and it doesn't matter. I've gone into any number of places, and I've been with, a hardcore wherever. But if I'm with somebody as and I'm being treated with respect and dignity, it doesn't really matter.
What about, let me ask you this thing people talk about, the 50-50 thing. You heard about it?
Okay, tell me what.
All right, so basically it's a thing, man and woman, they live together. Boom, if you got to be with me, you got to pay half my bills, or we got to do half or something like that.
I think that's totally negotiable.
You think that's a cool thing?
I think it's totally negotiable.
Really?
If you're living with somebody, whether it's somebody that you're sharing a bed with, or whether it's somebody that you're sharing a house with because you're trying to save money, or you just like living with people.
That was a classy way to say that. Sharing a bed with. Okay, I'm gonna take that. Hey, what you trying to be? No, I'm trying to share a bed.
Then you get into that. Are we sharing a bed or are we intimate? And
either way, women like a lot of people, they say the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, is it fair that people should pay for their half of things? Sure. Is it fair for if you're staying with somebody and if money clearly isn't an object for them and somebody says,
this is the thing,
I'm cool with
this. It's 50-50 on this side and you got the man pay for everything on this side. Which side are you dealing with more?
I think once again, I can't even begin to answer that question. It depends on the people. It's like, does the man have money? Does,
Yeah, let's say you got the money. Let's say everybody got the money. Everybody got the money.
So money is not a question. Everybody has equal amount of money.
Yeah,
because men and women don't get paid equal amount of money. So men and women have equal money. I think it comes between the couple.
All right, Bridget. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna piss you off with this one. Is that a real fact?
No, you're not pissing me off. I think it's only fair that people negotiate, what they want to do, which is one of the things that goes back to having a long-term relationship, whether it's with a partner or whether it's with a friend. If you're not honest with your friends or your partners, then you're not going to keep a friendship or a relationship.
I get you. Let me ask you this. How I feel like everybody judges everybody. So then, I just skip past that question really. But how do you judge people?
How do I judge people?
Yeah, like some people say, oh, I judge a person off their shoes, or I judge a person off their this, or off their that, or off their eyes. If their eyes looking at you, ain't looking at you, that means they're not. Some people, everybody got their thing. How do you judge people?
Well, when I feel myself being judging people, I check myself. Like,
You don't think that's a good right thing?
to judge people? I absolutely do not believe that judging people is good.
Crazy.
I check myself because once again, I am taking what I believe and putting it on you. And what I've grown up with is very different than what you've grown up with. You know, eye contact's a tough one because in this culture, and we say this to students all the time and educate youth, is in this culture, eye contact is something that people will judge you on. So if you go into an interview and if you don't establish eye contact, people are going to treat you differently. Should they? No. Should they? I mean, but they will. If you're in school, if you're in court, if you're any place, if one does not give eye contact, that doesn't mean stare them down, but know how to use eye contact because this culture, the United States, looks at it as being important. Whereas if you go to many other cultures, it's just for you to look at me is wrong because I'm your elder. So you don't establish eye contact with, different people. So it's so culturally speaking,
Let me ask you a couple business questions real quick. You got an LLC? I feel like, yeah, you
No,
own
I'm a
this.
nonprofit. At this point in time, I'm a nonprofit.
Oh yeah, all right, that's cool. But basically, you got your business. You say you've been doing it for 12 years. I want to ask you this. So, what's something that you can find like grants and stuff like that? I just made my LLC for my camera business, so kudos for me. How do you find like grants?
Congratulations. Well, writing grants for an LLC, I don't know if that's possible. So you have to earn money that way. A nonprofit is we are a business and we get our money through grants and foundations and personal donors and people giving us money.
For people that's listening right now on the camera and everything, what are some like steps or like grants that you look for them for like, oh, be like, oh, I go to this website and this website got all the grants. Oh yeah, I do this and I talk to this person in my city.
If somebody was going to go for, and the reason why I made that noise.
Break it down for me. It sounds like it's gonna be a lot.
No. The reason why I made that noise is because there is a website with all the grants on it, but you have to pay for it or you have to be connected to a university. So that leaves out many people, smaller nonprofits getting funding.
Tell them the websites.
I don't know what they are because I don't have access to them, but I know they are out there.
Damn, even you don't got access to them?
I don't have access to them. So
you the lady in my head. Like you the one. Shit.
I would say if anybody wanted to go for nonprofits getting grants to find somebody with, like for you, if you had a nonprofit in, doing the work that you want to do, then talking to people who have been there for a while and finding out, networking, making connections. If somebody was doing education after school, just starting a nonprofit, I'd be more than willing to talk to anybody and everybody on how to help them move to their next step. Just in fundraising, as I go to people to learn about this.
You just do fundraisings, basically, is what it sounds like.
We do a lot of fundraising.
So you do fundraising. That's how you do it. All right, for sure. Just wanted to. And then it was the, other than that, we talked about that. Talked about a lot.
You talked about a whole lot.
Yeah, we did talk about a lot.
Talked about a whole lot.
Anything, think people like to know about you and stuff like that? Something that nobody else knows about you that would help them understand you more?
I'm incredibly passionate and I have very high expectations of myself. So that reflects on the way the people that I work with, and I say this to people that I work with and that either work at Educate Youth or come into it, it's like because I'm passionate and I have high work expectations for myself, I quite often project that on other people, though I try to back it down. But
preaching.
But no, but I can't tell somebody else their work ethics.
Yeah,
But
I say I got the same problem.
oh
Like
yeah,
I
no,
put a
and I
lot of
mean,
work into this. I dropped like 4 interviews yesterday. I dropped in 3 today. So I was like, I know what you're talking about, and then somebody else may come
right,
here. Oh, I did 1 interview. Like I did 4.
right, but I can't say anything. It's kind of like but so it's trying to, um, but people judge me as harshly.
Got you. What's a misunderstood story? Like a story that you like of your life that you were just really misunderstood in one point.
You mean that's happened to me, or that I feel
Yeah,
people misunderstood?
like something funny. I was going into a building, and then I went in there. I said, "Hey, where the whiteboard at?" And then he's like, "Oh, it's over here." And it's like I didn't really even take note in my mind. She did ask for it twice, I think. I was like, "Where the whiteboard at?" And it's like, "What? Where the whiteboard at?" And it's like, "Oh, the whiteboard's over here." And then it's like, I went back home, and then I got a phone call. It's like, "What? Why were you talking about some white boy? Why'd you call him a white boy?" And I was like, "What? I didn't call anybody a white boy." I said, "Where's the whiteboard at?" It's like, "Why you calling him a white boy?" I didn't say white boy. I said whiteboard. And it was like, "Oh, because we don't say the end of my words." So that was like a misunderstood, funny misunderstanding right there. So you got any
Um,
stories like that?
I'd have to think about them. I can get back to you on this one.
Hmm.
Um,
You got a spot that you like love to live at, or is Ann Arbor, Ipsy just like rocking out spot?
oh, that's a really tough one. That's a really, really tough one. At this point in time, I have family and business, and I'm connected to Ypsilanti. I'm not connected to Ann Arbor. I'm connected to Ypsilanti. I look at the two places as being very different.
Hmm.
Um, I'm solidly embedded in Ypsilanti. Um, I love the Northwest because I like the outside. I like the mountains. I like being,
Utah is beautiful out here.
yeah, I'm talking Seattle, like all the way the Olympic Peninsula, like
Yeah,
in Washington State.
Seattle. Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Um, I grew up outside. I grew up in the Appalachians in the mountains, so which is a very different cultural.
Me, I'm a snowy person. I like Alaska. Like I really want to like just
I've never been to
as soon as
Alaska.
I get some money, I'm going somewhere where it's always snowing. I just love it.
Good luck with global warming.
I just love it.
That might, but
Have you noticed that though? Like I feel like when I was a kid, it actually snowed in December. I feel like by the time I'm your age, it's gonna be snowing in like April, May, and that's just gonna be normal. I feel like it's gonna be snowing in May.
the one thing that I'll say is I've noticed a big, huge difference in snow. There was you probably hear a lot of people talk about, well, maybe not down south, but in Michigan, I grew up outside of Pittsburgh, but it's like there was snow. There was a lot of snow. And
I
because
know
there was a lot of snow, people knew what to do with the snow.
we got
People
our
knew,
tinfoil hats on.
yeah,
Let's go. I
right.
hear it's fake
People,
snow out here. Is it?
well, no, people knew how to move the snow. People knew how to drive in the snow. People knew how to dress for the snow.
Mhm.
And nowadays with less snow, people don't know how to drive, and so people don't know what to do in the snow.
Mm.
So it becomes something that,
So you think we just got less snow?
oh, I know we have less snow. I think global warming is real, and I think that the planet's
Global
getting
warming is
warmer.
fake. No, wait. What is global warming? Out of curiosity.
Global warming is the
I just hear people talk about if it's real or fake.
temperature of the Earth is rising. The air temperature is rising because of air's being let in because of fossil fuels and stuff. Total another subject for another day, but global warming is real. I do believe that it's real. A lot of people say that it's not real. A lot of but they don't look at the science behind it.
Mm.
But I look at the science.
Let me ask you this: if somebody's thinking about selling, I feel like, yeah, you can't fuck with me. I feel like you're a person that's not like a sellout in a certain sense, if you know what I mean. So if somebody's finna sell out right now, what would you tell them to not sell out? Because I feel like we have a lot of that, and I feel like we have a lot of like even this one dude came in, he talked about Detroit has like major problem with a whole bunch of rich people coming in it and not giving back to the actual anything in it. They just keep all their money and rich things in Bloomfield, I think is what it's called, Bloomfield. And I feel like you kind of got the same thing here. Like I hear it's like a food shortage or a food like shortage or something like that in Ipsy, and then everything's just Ann Arbor. Like,
That's a tough one because communities are based on socioeconomics. And you need people with money to come into a community, to buy the houses, to buy the food, to create the businesses, to create what's needed that and pay taxes. Um, Many times people move in areas and they displace people, as in the whole, redlining gentrification, where you take out a whole section of people that was prospering, um, and you put in another group of people, like on the south side in Ypsilanti. It was black owned, black businesses, black socioeconomic people making money. And then they put the highway through and they totally ripped it out. So there's no businesses on the south side anymore. And so, or not anymore, but for the past several decades. And so you have people that are now displaced. So, I mean, in one way you want the money there. On the other way, you want the money there and the people that have the businesses that are from there instead of moving into there. So like Detroit, it's like people need to move in there, people need to add money, but to displace the people that have lived there for generations is wrong. Those people should have rights to create a house that is livable, that's no longer filled with blight, and should get the money to be able to do that so they can stay there.
This is the craziest part about it right now. Person, they'll do that, they'll stay in there in that condition, they'll make some money, and in the moment they get the money, Bloomington, the moment they get it, so then that's y'all see that problem, but I see the major problem with, like, these people aren't like this forever. They do work and they do come up, but the moment they get it, they out. Like, even I talk to some rappers, I be trying to tell all the rappers shit, I be like, all right, so when you get the big deal, or like, you already up a little bit now, do you still stay in your hood? And they be like, hell no. It's like,
Wait,
no.
but why? This is a big question, and this is a question I'd give to you, I'd give to anybody. Is at what point is it your responsibility to give back?
What point is it your responsibility?
To give back. If you start making money and if you become a professional football player, like, what responsibility do you have to give back to the community in which you're from?
I feel like everybody has that. I feel like everybody has it, and I'm coming from like a racist perspective. I feel like black people are the only people that we don't do that shit. I feel like even you white, right? I'm just guessing.
Yes.
All right, but yeah, I feel like even white people, y'all do that, but y'all just don't say it. Yeah, y'all do it without doing it, to be real with you.
So you don't believe that people that are black give back to their community? They just take from their community?
Like, not at fucking, like, all, like, at all. Like,
that's really curious.
Me just keeping it real with you. Yeah.
Right. Oh, no, that's
So I feel like, and they get the money. No, they get the money, and then guess what they do? They move to Ann Arbor. Or they go move to Bloomington. Or they go
Bloomfield
move
Hills, right.
somewhere else. As soon as they get the money, they go over there and they get that rent money or that mortgage money. Like, I'm just keeping it raw with you. They get that rent money or mortgage money to these Muslims or to these other people. And then boom, who they get their haircut from? It got to be somebody over there that's close. So they get a haircut money. Who they get the clothing money from? It got to be somebody that's close. They give it to all over there. Unless they was over there, I feel like you go to where things are closer. You know what I mean? So I feel like you may not see it as you giving back to Ipsy, with you being in Ipsy, but it's like something like this. Like,
well, yeah, no, but I mean, I think that's important. I mean, I live in Ipsy, so you do as many business as you can in Ypsilanti.
The money you give, you don't give back money to Ipsy. Like, oh, I'm giving money to Ipsy. No, you just like, oh, I'm here. I spend a lot of money in
I
Ipsy.
spend my money here, or I get money, and who am I going to donate my money to?
We don't
who
do
am
that.
Who am I going to educate? Where am I going to volunteer?
Like, even you got radical black people that say segregation was a good thing because I got to spend my money with black people.
Right. That's awesome. You know, I mean, if people are going to, I mean, that's supporting people.
Yeah.
You know,
we don't do that anymore.
Right.
Just
you know, it's the idea of the HBCUs or the sororities and fraternities, the Divine Nine, where you support one another.
Let me ask you this. I have this question. I wrote it down. So my dad, he used to live in Ipsy, right? So then, born and raised, grew up in Ipsy, right? So then he went to Detroit. He's like, yeah, he's like, Ipsy is dead. And then he's like, what do you think something that we can do to fix Ipsy from being dead? Because like even the food shortage, like I didn't even realize that until somebody brought it up on the interview. Like to get some food, you really got to go. Like we only got like 2 spots. You really got to go.
You have to leave Ypsilanti to get food.
Yeah, you got to go to that Myers. And I was like, oh, that is across the Gulf side, isn't it? So like, what can we do to revive Ipsy or anything?
That's a biggie. That's something that is a nonstop. People have to want to be here. People have to feel that they can raise a family here, so they have to have affordable housing. They have to feel like they have some place to educate their children.
Affordable housing, educating children.
Educate children, because how many families do you know live in Ipsy but send their kids someplace else?
I went to Pioneer.
You were one of them, right? You were one of them.
I went to Pioneer.
Right, but that's something real.
Yeah.
What else? Someplace for students to be. Like, what do you do after school? It's like you go to any other community. There's lots of stuff to do after school. If you're not an athlete, what is there for you to do after school in Ipsy? Well, there might be 1 or 2 things, 1 or 2 nights, but otherwise, you're hanging at home playing the game, or you're on the streets. So having someplace safer for teenagers to go. Our elderly, I think, just crossed, the board, we treat our elderly pretty badly.
How so?
They don't have any place to go. They don't have housing. They don't have, there's some, I'm not proficient in the needs of older adults, but.
Huh? You older.
I don't look, but see, I'm talking like the generation 70s, 80s.
So like 10 years older than you.
Right. People, do they have housing? Yeah, there's people that are my age that don't have housing or don't have food. So you're back into the same situation, but you're much older. As you get older, your body changes.
I ain't gonna lie, that's like one of my biggest fears. That's one of my biggest fears. That's why I gotta have a lot of kids. Like a lot of kids.
A lot of kids cost a lot of money and is a lot of time.
I don't care about none of that. I'm gonna pull a Michael Jackson. One of them gonna do something. Like Michael Jackson out of much. It's like, y'all gonna do something, y'all figure something out. Just keep popping them boys out. Like, and then we got Trump in there now. They say you don't gotta pay taxes. You get income tax off that. You can pay child support or something like that.
I don't know what Trump's doing right now. What President Trump is doing. I
feel like you're anti-Trump.
I'm not going to say whether I'm pro or anti-Trump.
Dang, people stay away from that nigga for sure.
It is because it's very polarizing. If you listen to what I'm saying, you can probably figure out what side, how I voted. But I will not say either of the 2 ways because it's very polarizing.
I got you. All right, stay off of that. Other than that, got everything we need.
Yep.
Other than that,
you ready, Bonita?
Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming by.
Thank you, Darkside. I really appreciated the time that you put into me and the interview for this afternoon. Darkside is the way to go.